Thousands of people are on the move in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo, fleeing fresh fighting in the region. The M23 rebel group has captured swathes of territory from the Congolese Army in one of Sub-Saharan Africa's most mineral-rich regions. M23, which is backed by Rwanda, is now closing in on the city of Goma, where many people have fled to. The ongoing violence has created one of the world's largest and most complex humanitarian crises.
Braving dangerous waters and carrying only a few belongings and the clothes on their backs, these people have walked for days. They are heading to Goma, a city in the Democratic Republic of Congo, close to Rwanda, an East African country. They are caught in the crossfire of a 3-decade-long conflict between the Congolese armed forces and several armed rebel groups.
We haven't had peace since the start of this war. Everywhere we go, we find ourselves in an uncertain situation. We don't know what to do. Children get hurt on the way, they go hungry, and we don't know where to go.
This time it's a rebel group backed by their neighbor Rwanda, called the M23. The rebels are capturing cities, pushing the army further back.
I'm very hungry. I left Minova yesterday for Enzelo, but the situation in Enzelo is not good either. So now I'm heading somewhere, but I don't know where.
Look, my older sister gave birth yesterday. She has a baby, and we don't know what to do.
Congo and the United Nations have accused Rwanda of backing the rebel group M23 with troops and weapons. But Rwanda continues to deny it. Shown here, the M23 targets mineral-rich mines to boost revenues and fund their operations. The war has displaced over 7 million. Activist Fred Baumer describes the lives of those forced to flee.
The camps are extremely overcrowded. There are reports of sexual violence and many killings in and around the camps. Humanitarian aid is insufficient to support these populations. If this were happening in another city or another country like in Europe, it would be considered a major displacement crisis.
One of the world's most complex crises. The conflict shows no signs of ending. Even their place of refuge, Goma, is no longer safe, as it is now surrounded by rebels.
Joining us now from Kinshasa is DW's correspondent Jonas Gerding. Jonas, let's begin with an update on the fighting. What is the latest that you can share with us?
Yeah, hello. So this morning, the M23 rebels, they pushed forward to Sake, so they attacked the town of Sake, which is around 20 kilometers far from Goma, and there was fighting all over the day. And finally, lots of people, they fled, first of all, to Goma, and finally the military governor of the North Kivu province, he went there and he said that they will be able to push back the rebels out of Sake. But this will be something which is really hard because those rebels, they are supported, they are backed by Rwanda. Rwanda has about 3,000 to 4,000 soldiers on the ground in the DRC, like heavy equipment. And so we are no longer talking about one of those like 120 plus small armed rebel groups, but this is really like a state army, very hard to fight.
So with that in mind, if rebels do continue to move closer into the city of Goma, what will that mean for the people there?
Yeah, so Goma, first of all, it's encircled. So to the east, there's the border to Rwanda. To the north is already the rebel group. We've got the M23 rebels to the west, and to the south is the Lake Kivu. And a couple of days, one like Minova, a very important port, was also targeted by the rebels and captured. So now there's a big problem of food supply for the city. So prices are already sparking. And until now, the rebels, they had the strategy to rather go into like big areas, so rural areas. They were capturing mines, but it looks like this time they'd be willing to attack the city of Goma, and this would really be a game changer.
Indeed, it would. Now, the president of the DRC, Felix Tshisekedi, refuses to negotiate with the rebels. How could this war then come to an end?
We need to keep in mind that this is not the first M23 rebellion. There has been an M23 rebellion in 2012 and 2013. And back then, they even entered Goma, though without not much bloodshed. And back then, there were negotiations happening. And so finally, the rebels, they moved out. They were hoping to get recompensated and so on. And now, 2021, they started the rebellion all over again. So keeping this in mind, the current president, Felix Tshisekedi, he is categorically refusing to negotiate. And it's kind of understandable as well, because this would have like a huge price. And so this last rebellion, this brings us another lesson, because back then there was lots of international pressure, there were sanctions, and sanctions, lots of international pressure could be one part of the solution to this major crisis.
Well, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed with the very latest. That is Jonas Gerding in Kinshasa.